Lights, camera, action. Hello, and welcome back. Once again, it is time for the Golden Age of DC Comics 365 Days, where I take a well-loved hardcover coffee table book given to me about 2 decades ago by one of my best friends. It has been surfing my coffee table ever since, providing me with comic book shop style conversations, the kind I wish to recreate here today with you. So pull up a chair to our coffee table. Bring a cup of whatever you want to put under your nose. Oh, that's a good cup of coffee. And let me know in the comments what you're drinking today. This is a 365 days book. We're using it for its intended purpose. We're going to go to today's date, which is December the 18th. We're going to look at some comic book art of an antediluvian age. We're going to read the blurb, and then we're going to talk about comic books. And we're going to talk about comic books every day for the rest of the year. We've been doing it all year long, and we're going to end this year strong. And we have a plan for next year, too. We're just going to keep talking about comic books every day. We're going to find a reason. We can. Isn't it great? I love talking about comic books. I love comic books, and if you love comic books as much as I do, you are tuning in to the right channel at the right time. This is our show, our conversation, and how we like to have a good time, you know? And let's get to it. The Golden Age runs from 1938 until 1955. The Silver Age between 1956 and 1970. The Bronze Age between 1970 and 1984 or 5. I'm a Bronze Age baby myself. And the Copper Age begins in 1985. I do get these standards and definitions from the Overstreet Comic Book Price Guide. And this is actually going to be talking more about this today and why it's important and how it fits into going forward in our show. And perhaps, I guess, this will be the book that we're using next year. And but yeah, in the glossary, it contains, industry standards. This is we're going to get into Overstreet's Price Guide. I use it. I talk about it a lot, but have I ever talked about it? Really? Like how and why is it important? Well, but I use the glossary, and it has the ages, and it defines them. So the modern age of comics has been going on since 1993 until today, and that's something I scratch my head over. And hold on, Pika, yeah, that's shocking. That's a Pikachu pun. I get it. Oh my goodness. Charged up and ready to go. Let's get to it. I hope you're clobbering your problems and not being clobbered by them. Over and out. It is December the 18th. This is art by C.C. Beck from Captain Marvel Adventures, issue number 24, June of 1943. And the Minneapolis, yes, it's a city. Prince is from there. And the Minneapolis Mystery. Folks, there are a few cities as beautiful and friendly as Minneapolis, way up in Minnesota. Captain Marvel and I visited there recently, but we didn't get much time for sightseeing. We were too busy trying to catch up with that elusive, deadly character, the man who wouldn't let it rain. Dun, dun, dun. That's some C.C. Beck art. Those are the eyes I was talking. If you remember last time I was talking about Captain Marvel and his face and the expressions of his face. So, I mean, he had those dot eyes that we also see used so expressively over at Charles Schultz's, Peanuts, correct? I mean, and yeah, it's very comic booky to have those like simple pinpoint kind of eyes. Let's read the blurb. Why don't we? During the 1940s, Captain Marvel had the most popular comic book in the United States. Much of its success was due to the quality of the product, but marketing techniques were involved as well. One idea was to send the hero to a major population center in the evident hope of increasing local sales. The Minneapolis Mystery was the first such story to be featured on a cover. Later locations did not include the biggest possible city, but the world's mightiest mortal did visit Denver, Buffalo, Dallas, Omaha, Indianapolis, St. Louis, Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh, among others. Yeah, And that's our comic book art for today. Yeah, look at the city. I like the city. Is that an authentic representation of maybe this is a light box of a photograph taken from an aeroplane? Such stuff was kind of new, back then. Having an aerial, view, this bird's eye view of your major population center. I mean, and cities were fewer and far between as well back then. I mean, pretty much there were cities, and then there was the rest of America. It might be that way now. Not too sure, but yeah, that's our comic book for today, and it's. I want to get back into Overstreet here just for a second. I want to talk about it. I'm going to read, you guessed it, from the wiki. That's right. And Overstreet Comic Book Price Guide, or the official Overstreet Comic Book Price Guide, is an annually published comic book price guide, which widely considered the primary authority on the subject of American comic book grading and pricing in the hobby/industry. Many observers tie in the growth of the direct market distribution system and comic book specialty shops to the general acceptance of Overstreet's annual guide as a standardized inventory and pricing system. We're going to have to talk about direct market one of these days, because that's really where the interruption and the change of the paradigm went. Because I often talk about the availability on spinner racks and on newsstands. And back in the day, if you didn't sell that copy of that magazine, of that periodical, you would rip its cover off. You would send them back to its publisher so they can be returned to pulp and made into new comics or new magazines. That level of scarcity kind of drives the price point of these especially these golden age comic books. I'm amazed at the prices of these golden age comic books. But let's read a little bit more from the wiki, please. Let me wet my whistle. Begun in 1970 by Robert M. Overstreet as a guide for fellow fans of Golden and Silver Age comics, the Overstreet Price Guide has expanded to cover virtually the entire history of American comics publication, as far back as the Victorian Age and Platinum Age. And I found out about those two by researching this very show about the Golden Age, and also included within the Golden Age the Atom Age from 1946 to 1956. That's an Overstreet standard too. So their Golden Age is defined between 1938 and 1945. I mean, seriously. And as I said, also, the Modern Age has been going on since 1993. And if you've listened to the show before, you know that my own hypothesis, my own hypotenuse on this triangle states that I would like to extend the Copper Age until 2000, make that a 3-act story, and then start the Millennium Age in 2000 to 2015. And then in 2015, we're in our postmodern age, the current age. That's how I see it. I mean, I don't mean to contradict Mr. Overstreet here. The annual editions also covers promotional comics, giveaways, and advertising, and big little books, while continually updating new publications and market reports that cover the prior year of market activity. The Overstreet's annual guide to comic book collecting hobby has become itself a collectible. Yeah, I mean, because each one has its own cover. I mean, yeah, this is pretty cool, and something evocative on the spine of where it came from. See that's Static Shock, from the Milestone days. I mean, Static got his own cartoon. There we go. That's Static number 1 from 94? Thinking, and that's a new Static here, and that's hardware too. These are from the Milestone universe, and that was last year's comic book price guide. You're used to me waving this thing around every episode. I got, and this was released in July of 2022. So I've been behind for a couple of months. Yet once I became aware that, oh wow, you need a new Overstreets, don't you? I do. Yeah, I'm gonna. So here we have this really awesome Winter Soldier cover. What's this? This looks like Butch Joyce. I'll have to look. I'll have to find out where the cover artist. I don't know. I barely ever read this. It's packed full of house ads. Let's see. Okay, here because it's got Indica. Here we go. And contributor to the. It doesn't say. Oh, sorry. I don't want dead air. You should have Pika. Let's get some better notes. But look in the spine. You have. That's Captain America issue 1, and that's the big thing. Like, oh, politics have always been in comics. You see, he's punching out AH. Jawohl, not to be confused with Johnny Depp's ex-wife. No, but yeah, in the first appearance of Bucky, who is the Winter Soldier. Hello, there we go. Ha 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 ha. More about Overstreet, yeah. But yeah, there's a hardcover, there's a soft cover, there's a larger ring-bound edition, an electronic edition, and there are multiple covers for every version. And this is great because Robert M. Overstreet grew up as a comic book coin and Native American arrowhead collector. And in the 1960s, he wrote a book on how to value and price guide arrowheads. And then after that, he just carried that over into comic books. And now there's you have this every year, and also it's gonna come later on today. You'll start seeing that later on this week. I've also picked up from May of 11th, published in 2021, by oh wow, Billy Tucci that's his cover. I'm going to see Billy Tucci at WickedCon. Now I got something of his to sign. Awesome. I think that's great. Oh, hooray me, huh? So I'm getting the Overstreet Guide to Grading Comics, 6th edition, softcover. And this is newly updated. Since 1970, the name Overstreet has symbolized a vast knowledge of American comic books. I'm reading this from the Amazon page. While the Overstreet comic book price guide helps you learn about comic values, this book teaches you the importance of condition, a factor that is often the key to real collectability, and how to grade accurately. The Overstreet Guide to Grading Comics includes the 10-point grading system, as well as exhaustive descriptions of primary and split grades. It spotlights each grade with more than 200 full-color images and all, as well as articles on storage, preservation, and restoration. A look at the independent third-party grading companies, and much more. This is great because this is the kind of content I want to get into. I'm astounded by how much this little book that I've had for almost 2 decades has taught me so much about comic books. It has made me go research and look up other sources and just to, re-educate myself with the craft of art, the sequential art of storytelling, and of publication and of magazine periodicals. I'm really into the floppy. I don't know why it's a negative term. I don't accept that. I'm not going to agree that floppy is a negative term. It's a really cute term. I believe in the floppy. I love floppies. I'm calling them floppies. Sorry. There's individual issues. Sure. I like the cuteness of it, man. And just, yeah. Why? Someone put that in the I could look this up, but this is part of our conversation. Why is floppy a negative term? Can someone answer that, please, in my comments? Our conversation? I want to hear from you. Before I could look this up on the internet. I'd rather talk to you. But yeah, next year's direction of the show, I'm going to be bagging, boarding, and boxing all of my old comic books. I need to put them into new bags with acid-free backs. into new boxes, because some of my boxes have really saved my comic book collection. Seriously, they need to be replaced. I needed to throw them out because they got wet and maybe even started some mold. But the inside, the contents, they were safe, and I caught it. But you know what I mean? It's just like they're in my basement. It's a damp basement sometimes. I mean, I need to treat my comics better, and this way, I'm going to be learning more and more about something very, really deep in comic books and comic book collecting, grading. I mean, that's really cool. I mean, I just turned 50 years old. I've been a comic book fan all my life. I'm quite ignorant when it comes to grading comic books. Guess what? We're going to learn about how to grade comic books together using my collection. I got about 8 long boxes, maybe 9, that need to be turned over and to be evaluated now. And like I said before, maybe even sell chunks of them. I mean, I don't reread these ones. Very few and far between am I ever rereading any of these floppies that are, in plastic. And most of the time without boards. I'm being cruel to them. I know. These need boards, you savage. That's what Brody Bruce said at the flea market in Act 2 of Mallrats. This is true. I mean, I agree with that. I'm mean to my comic books sometimes. I roll them up and put them in my back pocket. We all know the tale of... The tale of Avengers versus X-Men versus Eternals #1. I didn't do this out of spite. I don't want to hear any comics creators saying like, "Oh, look at this guy. He's burning Marvel Comics again." No, that was on purpose. This was quite an accident. Yeah, I'm not destroying Marvel Comics out of spite. I mean, I know. I'd like to, but no. But see, but if I only had treated this comic with its proper dignity and respect, if there's a baseline respect that we should be treating all of our floppies, and it's not rolling them up, just stick in your back pocket. I've horrified people by doing that, but seriously, it's an old habit. I've been doing that since I was a kid in the spinner rack. But yeah, we're going to talk about direct market too, and about when the world changed. Yeah, I mean, there used to be Wizard and Diamond, and comic book stores were new. I mean, and just I remember my comic book stores as well. And those are the direct market, And I saw it. Did I see its beginning? I saw the sea change. I saw the, you go to a newsstand. Like there's a basic newsstand in every in my supermarket. It has paperback books. It has periodicals, magazines, Cosmopolitan, GQ, Time. All of them. But there are no comic books. There are no Marvel, DC. There are no funny books, and even on eye level to small people that it could be appealing to. And I think maybe even have I seen manga? I'm not sure. I'm going to the big supermarket later this week, and I'll do a quick video on that. I'll let you know if I do. I'll include it in one of these. It always fascinates me. The toy aisles and magazine racks have always fascinated me in supermarkets or in big box stores. And yeah, oh boy, I did not do this out of spite. I did not destroy this comic book out of spite for Marvel. I did not. Okay? It's purely accidental. But it's a great learning lesson. I lost $6. This is wasting my money. This was a waste of money. But I learned something very valuable. Yeah, I mean, I should have a baseline respect for my funny books. And that begins with new bags, new boards, new boxes, and talking about just maybe 1 or 2, 3 of these floppies every day. I mean, we're going to look at the indicia. We're going to talk about the artists. We're going to talk about perhaps the world at the time of the, and how I fit into it. Where was I when I originally bought this? Is this my second copy? What were the songs that that I loved when this comic book came out? Because all these comic books are from my lifetime. I have a story with every one of these stories. So it's not like this is a golden age book and I was like I'm doing it just for value. No, all of these issues have a story attached to them. I was this old. I was this person then. I was in this space on my journey and becoming, the YouTuber you see today and having this conversation that we're enjoying every day. And I'm so grateful for you for tuning in. I'm always grateful that if I'm able to catch the live premiere and being part of my own live chat, it always blows my mind. I'm always humbled by that. Thank you so very much for bringing that into my life. Hopefully I'll continue to be bringing more fresh, convincing, authentic, genuine comic book conversations into all of our lives for the foreseeable future. Thank you so very much. We've been talking about comic books, and we're going to talk about comic books every day for the rest of the year. So you tune in tomorrow, 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern, and we'll find out who we're talking about when we turn that page tomorrow. Please like and subscribe. I would love to earn your subscription. We make daily content here. We talk about comic books every day. We make regular content. I'm a professional chef. I make soup at work, and I share these soup videos, and they get a lot of traction. And so I also do longer soup videos showing technique on how to make delicious, nutritious, and beautiful food. You can make it at home, seriously. And I'm a spiritual guy, an ordained minister. We get spiritual here. We talk about gratitude and purpose a lot, and how it can really be a boon in your life. All I can have is to pay it forward at this point, and hopefully you can too. God bless. Namaste. Good luck, and we will see you again tomorrow in those funny pages. Ciao. Bye-bye. Yes, Pika. He says bye too.